Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. So today we're going to go into Korea as usual and we're going to have a look at some of the new stuff being played in 9.21. Someone's going to put a list of them down in the description below if that's what you're looking for, but all of the builds and everything will be in the video itself. Before we get into that, I have something really cool for you, PC giveaway. So Ironside are the ones that did my PC, and they've come out with their new original one, Dynasty. It looks absolutely insane. The PC is nuts itself, but you can enter to actually win one of these for yourself. It doesn't just look good, it actually has a really good specs as well. So it's got like an Intel Core i7-9700K, you've got the GeForce RTX 2070, you got loads of storage in here as well, even some cooling in there. So it's actually an insane PC, and everything you need to know to enter is down in the description. Before we get into some of our new ones, I just want to talk about something that is crazy overpowered in Korea right now, which is Kayle. She's basically the best champion in the game. You know, she was kind of like a minion early game when they first reworked her, right? And then she scaled into something stupid. That's kind of what we know. Well, that's similar, but now it's bad until about 15 minutes. And then after that, so just basically after lane phase, she's actually really good and has a really high win rate. This was a build a few patches ago when she was kind of like mini reworked, I guess, but our items have shifted a little bit now. So it's going to be the same items, but we're going to have a different order that works. So we're going to go Gunblade first, then Nash's, and then Rageblade. So Gunblade gives the early power she needs, and then you have the Rageblade kind of third to finish it off. She is definitely a really good pick to abuse for the end of season, so I just wanted to kind of make you aware and just say like she's actually insane. The first venue picks though is going to be Maokai top. So I was really surprised, but technically he's one of the highest win rate champions in the entire game. His W cost was flattened, so it doesn't increase throughout the game anymore. 20 more damage on that as well, up to 70 rank 1, and you're leaving it at rank 1 for a little while. And also your ultimate is going to root for a bit longer. One of the big things he actually did was make his lane phase much stronger, so he has a lot of damage. He has some really good crowd control, good healing from his passive. It's actually a really good kit to tangle and to fight with people. If you're against other champions that get a bit tanky or kind of outscale you, a bit like a Jax for example, that's going to be really bad because you basically stand no chance. You can't fight him, you can't kill him, and he'll end up split pushing and winning. Champions are a bit lower health though. Ones that are a bit more damage orientated that he can actually chunk out, like Aurelia or like a Jace or something, are actually pretty good for Maokai right now, and he has a really good matchup. He is one of the best tanks for solo queue team fights just because of the easy flash W engage, your slam, your ultimate combo. It's not very difficult to do it, but it's like so effective. He's going to be locking down one person with that W while messing with the entire team with the follow-up with everything else. He will last a long time in that fight anyway, but it gives your team such a massive advantage. Our meta is really like carry mid, carry jungle, carry AD carry, so having a top lane tank means that you can set all of them up if you're actually willing to do it. Maokai is a bit different to other tanks just in terms of like how much crowd control he actually has and how much damage he also brings to fights, especially early game, so that is why he's one of the best. Next up, we kind of have one that at lower ranks. So when I do the research for these videos, I tend to look normally at higher ranks and lower separately to see what's really good. And one of the lower ones is Diana mid. She absolutely demolishes right now from low analytics in gold this patch in Korea if a game is ending before 15 minutes. So it's like a hard snowball, right? And she causes that snowball and wins in over 80% of games. I know not many games end that early, but an 80% win rate at that phase is still pretty stupid. Like even before 20 minutes though, which is more normal, is almost 60%. So this is really the point. If she gets ahead and she hits her QR, you're basically dead, and that's all she really has to do. We are in kind of an assassin mid lane meta. You'll see a lot of Zed, a lot of Katarina, a lot of Fizz, right? And Diana is the easiest assassin to combo and kill somebody with, which means you can pick her up and instantly start to win. One of the kind of downsides, well, you can see it as a downside, is that she's one-dimensional. She only goes in. There's no flashy crap or anything like that like a Zed. You just do a ton of damage. The bad side to that is you can't really outplay, or like you don't have much mobility, but the good side is that you're going to dumpster weaker mid laners and also other assassins normally. Like this is a really big thing for this meta. She bursts harder usually than the other assassins, a lot quicker, a lot easier before they can outplay anything or dodge anything with their mobility, right? So for Katarina as well, like it's even harder because she can't use her ultimate. You're just going to pull them in with your E. This patch as well, we have more Protobelt rush into death cap. It's basically just taking Vlad's page and then sticking it on Diana, and somehow that actually works. You can also rush your death cap for way more burst if you want to do it that way instead. That is obviously if you're snowballing, but the Protobelt is used a lot more. We're actually going to stick with that mid lane because it's very different, but something I noticed a lot more was Ezreal mid being played now. I thought it was kind of a sort of an answer to Mage's bot lane, so you have some AD damage mid, but it isn't just that. Ezreal is pretty much a mage anyway, I guess. Like, think about it. Items are really cheap. You get the spike up mid game like a normal mage. You're doing a lot of your damage from your abilities rather than your autos. Ezreal has very cheap items in comparison to others, especially AD carries, but sort of having like an easier lane as well with less fights, less supports trying to kill you means he can go for Trinity Force. So that is the biggest difference between mid lane and bot lane Ezreal. Ezreal, most go for Iceborne bot lane, but that doesn't work mid at all. It's 24-second, and then he wins a decent amount. It's more of a carry build. You get your Blade the Ruined King afterward. Duskblade, by the way, actually, there are a lot as well for the assassination potential, and especially against mages mid, it actually works. Mages can't really zone Ezreal, even if like the other mid laner is going to be stronger. You can just spam your spells, you can poke, you can farm, and you're ultra safe with your E, so it's really hard to gank. It's actually very hard to lock him down, like very hard to dive him even, and the normal problem with an AD carry mid laner is that you're just going to get focused really hard, and so this is partially why like Tristana works. He's still got really good damage though. You have like AP in other lanes, hopefully, like in your jungle and stuff, maybe even bot lane, so it doesn't matter that you have an AD mid, but let's be honest, there aren't really many tanks, so it doesn't actually matter too much. You can roam okay, but that's not the idea of it. Like, Korea love Ezreal anyway for his outplay potential and basically zero reliance on teammates to do anything. Like, you can pretty much do it yourself from range, and you have that mobility to carry. You should try to avoid very long poke matchups like Xerath, or assassins like Katarina and Echo, who have more mobility than you do. But versus normal mages or anything else, you can skirt around and be fine. Like, that's going to be really good. So we're kind of swapping places here. Like, there's no real AD carry shift bot lane, but Heimerdinger is being played more, and he's pretty broken now. He has stupid amounts of damage, and he's kind of brain dead at a basic level to play bot lane, to stick bot lane, and actually to win games. Now, before Rezone or one of the few lonely Heimer mains actually goes in on me for that comment, to be useful and to win, you've just got to spam your rockets, put down turrets, and push, and that's it. That is a very brain dead AFK kind of playstyle, but it actually works. You're going to contain the enemy AD, you're going to make it hard to fight, hard to snowball, and get their tower plays. He's just a very oppressive little turd, basically. He averages the highest damage done bot lane out of any champion, mage, or AD carry over the course of a game. The constant poke with turrets on rockets will keep them low, and it's not like you fall off later either. Like, you have a really, really good mid game. There is room to show how good you are at Heimerdinger as well, so it isn't a completely brain dead pick. Like, if you land your grenade, the beam damage with a rocket and support follow-up can easily net you a few kills as well, and that's really when you run away with the game. Some ADs that have high range, stuff like Jinx, Ashe, and Jhin are going to be pretty bad matchups because they can remove your turrets out of range anyway, so they can just get rid of those, and you can't really force them under tower. Other AD carries with shorter range like Kai'Sa, Xayah, Vayne, they're going to be really good matchups for you. They can't stop you, they can't wave clear properly, and they get eaten alive. The idea really basically is you get out of lane phase without inting, hopefully with a couple of plays as well, and then you just start to group more and to shove. You win that mid game so hard, and that is why you pick Heimer. Our next one is a bit different. A Rengar top is a bit of a weird pick. It keeps coming in and out of things as well, and at lower ranks, people aren't really aggressive enough to use this when they pick it, but it's one of the best top laners at higher ranks. The biggest difference really between high and low is you just want to be fighting a lot. Like, you want to be abusing that healing from your W and the bushes and just fighting all the time. The other reason that we're seeing a lot more Rengar now, though, is because it's pretty good against a lot of bruisers and Kayle, which is everywhere at the moment. You are strongest in lane phase at a weakest point, right? So you jump out of a bush, you abuse the crap out of her while she isn't ranged, and then you snowball the game. Outside of lane, it's a lot like Quinn actually as well. You just push lane, you fight in lane a little bit, but then you roam around the map and you gank other lanes, and that's really what Rengar is good at doing with his ultimate. You'll be doing a ton of work and controlling the game until about 30 minutes, which is then when others will catch up to you and you're just not able to abuse people like you were before. Mostly that is because we're relying on his base damage with this build. You out heal the enemy damage while killing them just a little bit slower. I say a little bit slower, it's not a one shot anymore is what I mean basically, but it's not going to take you very long either, and it's so frustrating to play against it because you have like your health, you have your magic resist, you have your healing, and you still have the AD and the damage. This is just a really cool pocket pick to have, I think. I noticed that at higher ranks it was doing like a lot better, probably because of the more popular laners are a decent matchup for win rate at least, and you can go really aggressive in lane phase. Now I've got some stronger picks that I just wanted to kind of mention that the builds aren't going to be that different for, but they're definitely better in 9.21. So first of all, Soraka's support is the only support that's doing a bit better, and it's pretty underrated in Korea. The thing is, it's very hard for anything to survive. Leona, Blitzcrank, Nautilus, bum rushing, lane phase, and just wiping the floor with pretty much everybody. Soraka is really good against other mages though. So if you can get to like 2 items as well, your Sensor and Redemption, like you're going to have a really good team fight. With your kit and with Redemption, you're going to have 2 AoE heals that apply all Sensor buff as well to everybody in there. You're going to heal single targets, keep them all topped up and alive, and you have a silence for big team fights. You can actually do a lot more than people think, not just stand there and spam heal, and you also do really well at lower ranks. At those lower ranks, you're harder to punish, so you can poke more and you can actually bully the lane phase more. Like if you don't go in on her with Ignite, then she can sit back and harass till you have to kind of base and like regen your health and come back. It's kind of funny, but actually in Korea, she is average in lane phase and can lose pretty hard. Her win rate is pretty bad. You have to wait to mid game to be at her best. If we look at Europe or we look at North America instead, she's actually better early game, where she doesn't get punished and things aren't as aggressive. It doesn't really matter too much about lane phase, because if you get out of that, she can genuinely win you games if you aren't focused, and it turns into an Aaron with big team fights because you provide like more utility and you make your team so tanky with the heals, it's really hard to fight. You notice that we haven't talked about junglers yet, and that's because the jungle meta didn't really change much at all. But one thing that did change in Korea, like a little bit, is Xin Jungle came back. He is now the best early game jungler right now. He's going to nuke people down with his Trinity Force, right? Especially afterwards with a bit more AD as well, whether you get your Sterix or you get your Guardian Angel, but you're just basically there to kill stuff. He was buffed a few patches ago in 9.19, I think, so more heal on his passive and more damage on his Q. That's not going to be huge, but there are only really a few that demolish him at the moment, like Olaf, Echo, and Elise, who just provide a bit too much damage. There are a lot of other junglers who scale though, like Kha'Zix and Shaco and stuff like that, and he is winning against them a lot, and that is a really big part of why he's good at the moment. A lot of meta junglers right now get beaten up just by like sheer pressure early, I guess, and that's kind of where he really fits in. The other jungler that we can take a little bit of a look at though is Kayn. So he took a decent jump up in 9.21. His mid game looks a little bit stronger now, but he is still one of the best late game we have. He was buffed this patch, so that's part of it. His Q does more damage versus champions, whether you go blue or red. It actually doesn't matter. Red is a little bit stronger, it seems, in career, but it's more consistent, which is going to be a lot of it as well. Just make sure like you actually have a better win rate overall. Blue Kayn is seen as more fun, I guess, so people are going to do that when they filled properly, which is definitely a bad idea, but it's also more high risk, high reward, right? So you'll stomp some games and you'll get stomped in some others. Red Kayn is good in most games though. It's better for more team comps. It's better when you're behind as well, so that's going to be definitely one reason at least why right now it does better overall. There are no new builds or anything since it wasn't a massive change, but more people have started to play him again, so it's worth to mention that he's actually pretty good. Those are going to be the picks for Korea. Thank you for watching until the very end of the video. Make sure you go and enter the giveaway for Ironside. It's genuinely a really good PC, and you might as well. It's really simple to enter in the link down below. So thank you for watching until the very end, and for now, I will leave you with the robots.